Alright class, I am going to go over page 36A, problem set 75 through 94. They are asking you to sketch graphs and write equations of circles, okay? So number 79, use intercepts and symmetry to sketch the graph of the equation. Alright, so for this set of problems where you have to sketch the graph, this will depend highly on how much you remember from your Algebra 2 class, okay? So if you know the basic graphs of your equations or functions, then it's very easy. You don't really need to test for symmetry about, the three, the x-axis, the y-axis, and the point 0, 0. You don't have to, do an xy table. You don't have to find the x and the y intercepts if you know or remember a lot from, your previous math classes. If you don't know your basic graphs and the equations of your basic graphs, then you're going to have to do a lot of work, okay? So this all depends on your background, okay? So I know that in a cubic equation, a function looks like this. It's basically a snake-shaped graph that looks like this, okay? And I know that this point here is 0, 0. I know that the general form of a cubic function is y equal to a, and then there's x minus h cube plus my k. I know that. My hk is basically this point here for my cubic function. This a here tells me whether my graph starts from the third quadrant and it goes to the first quadrant, or whether it starts from the second quadrant and it goes to the fourth quadrant. Again, all of that depends on how much you remember, okay? So just knowing this, I see the resemblance between the problem which is given to me and the problem that, or the general equation of a cubic function that I remember, okay? So I know that for the problem which was given to me, I know that my h is 0, okay? I know that my a has to be 1, and I know that my k has to be 3, okay? So that's the most important thing here that you need. All right, so what does that do to the graph? Basically, your graph is the exact same graph, except that it's going to be shifted 3 units up, okay? Remember your HK. You guys did a lot of HK translation with your parabolas, your second degree functions. So it does the same thing to every single graph, okay? It doesn't matter whether you have a linear, if a quadratic, cubic, quintic, it doesn't matter. They both do the same thing. These two factors do the same thing. The h value is going to move your graph left and right by that many units, and the k is going to move your graph up and down by that many units. Just remember about this sign, okay? Remember for h, because it's inside the parentheses, there's a minus sign there, so your h is actually the opposite value that you see there, okay? So other than that, there's not much to this graph here. If you want to quickly sketch this, all you need to do is go here and reset your new set of axes, okay? So we know that instead of this being a 0, 0, you are at 0, 3, okay? So go to 0, 3, 1, 2, no, so 1, 2, 3. So now I'm just going to put my new set of axes here. Oh, I should use a different color. Color. Let me use green. Okay, so now it's right here, okay? So now you just do the same thing. So how do you sketch the graph? You know that it's going to go like that. Okay, and you should have 3 points at least, okay? There is always the point which is right here and that point right here. Okay, they're always on a graph. So at least put 3 points down, and your graph has to go through those 3 points. If you have an x and a y-axis, like a linear function, that every linear functions, well, not every one, but almost all of them have an x and a y-axis. So you should definitely use those as key points to graph. So your 3 points will depend on the type of function that you have, okay? So for that one, that's one way to do this. This is not the only way. The long way would be to do what the book is asking you to do. Use the x-intercept, use the y-intercept, and of course use lines or use a symmetry to sketch it. But again, that's not how I would do the problem because they're asking you to sketch it. So just sketch it the way you remember how, or the way you know how to do it fast. Page 84. Absolute value equations. Again, I remember absolute value equations or absolute value functions are your V-shaped graph, okay? Opening up or opening down depending on your A. And again, the basic equation for this is just y equal to A, absolute value of x minus h, and then plus my k. That's the general equation of an absolute value function. Again, what does A do? It would just tell you if it opens up or down, depending on if it's positive or negative. Your h is the vertex. Your hk are the coordinates of the vertex. Okay, that vertex right here, that's your hk. So again, just knowing this from your previous classes or remembering this helps you, okay? All right, so I'm going to go to my equation and I'm going to just see what I have, okay? So right here, I'm going to rewrite it for you. It looks like I have y equal to a negative and then x absolute value of x, and then I have a plus 1. So all I did is I just rearranged the term, okay? So notice that here my absolute value of x is negative. That means my a is negative, so this graph is going to open down. And then I notice that my h is 0 and my k again is positive 1, okay? So I know it's going to open down because of that negative sign here. And I know that my vertex is going to be at h is 0 and k is 1, all right? So how do I graph this? I'm going to go here, okay? So go to 0, 1, 0 on the x-axis, 1 on the y-axis. And then it's going to open downward. Again, if you know your absolute value very well, you will notice they will go through these 2 points, okay? So that is problem 84. And again, this is the short way of doing the problem. Basically, do you remember how to do this? Or do you know your basic graphs? If you do, I have no problems with you sketching a graph this way. That should be the way to do it because you are in a high-level class. You don't have much time to waste. So if you can do the problem faster and more accurately, use that method, okay? Unless they specifically ask you to, like on the test, if I ask you to use a specific method, you have to use that. But this is just for practicing how to sketch graphs. I'd be very happy if you know how to do this, as long as you show your work and enough details on your graph, all right, meaning those 3 points. Okay, let's go to number 90. Number 90, they want you to find the standard form of the equation of the specified circle, okay? So C stands for the center of the circle, R stands for the radius. So again, just a quick review here. You have a circle, the circle always has a center, and it is always defined by its radius, okay? And the standard equation for a circle is your x minus h. Notice hk are always part of your formulas. Learn to know them very well. They become so helpful. Plus your y minus k squared is equal to your r squared. I don't have space on that side, so I'm just going to put it right here. This is basically the distance formula, okay? If you take the square root of both sides and you get the distance formula basically. But anyway, so the center is always the hk, okay? This is your h, this is your k, all right? So we know, well, once you write that down, then you know what to do, okay? I don't know about you guys, but, I always write down the formulas because even when I'm stuck, when I look at the formula and I look at the information which is given to me, I would just plug in numbers into what I know, and then the problem just, pops up in front of me. So you should do the same. If you need to draw a picture, draw a picture. If you need to write down the formula, start with the formula and think about, what do I have, because there's nothing you don't know. All right. So here I'm going to do the problem. I'm going to put my hk in there. Okay, so I know my r is 7. I'm going to just do the substitution. X, I don't know what x is. My h is negative 7, so be careful. It becomes positive 7 here. Plus my y is just a variable. And then minus my k is negative 4. So again, be careful. And I love Notability because you can change these signs. Okay, all right, so I think that your answer is going to be 49 equal to x squared plus 7 squared plus, x plus 7 quantity squared, and it's y plus, oh, I forgot to put my k in there. I meant to put a 4 here. So you see I make all sorts of mistakes just like you do, so just be careful. If you are careful, you won't have to redo the problem, okay? And again, please check the answer in the back of the book. See if that's what they want. I hope that's what they want. All right, I just don't want to make this too long, so I'm not going to check, but you should, okay? Okay, number 92, same thing, but now they are giving you different information. They are giving you the center. Again, at the moment they say center, put HK down, okay? Because that is going to help you with half the battle, okay? So because you already know your H and you know your K. A solution point, okay? We don't know what that means yet, okay? But let's go ahead and write down the formula. Because we are finding the equation of a circle, so just write down the formula and see what we can do. Okay, so r squared is equal to x minus h squared plus my y minus k squared. Okay, so what do I know? I know my hk, so I'm going to go ahead and substitute what I know. This is my r squared. All right, so my x is, okay, so x and y, I see x and y here, and they gave me a solution, okay? So that means that my x must be -1 and my y must be 1, okay? A solution is a point that is going to make the equation true. It's a point that is going to be on the graph when you graph it, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and this is my, oops, not there. This is my x and this is my y, okay? So I'm going to put my x value down. This is -1 minus my h. My h is 3, and then I'm going to square it. Plus my y is a 1 minus my k is -2. So I'm going to change color and change this to a plus and square it, okay? So here I'm going to have, just do the math here. You've got -4 squared, so that's going to give you a 16 plus this one 3 squared is going to give you a 9. So your r squared is 25. So here you have r squared, but they don't want r squared. They want the standard equation of the specified circle. So you have your r squared. How do you finish the problem? What you need to do now is go back to the original question, put 25 down for your r squared. X is just a variable, write it down. Your h is 3 squared, and then plus your y is just a variable, and your k is a -2, so this becomes +2. And if you check the back in the book, hopefully that's the answer that they want. Okay, so this is a problem where they give you the center and a point, with a solution point. So basically that's their x and your y value in the equation. All right, this one, okay, because this is getting long, I am not going to do the whole problem for you, but I am going to just help you start thinking about this problem, okay? So we know that the equation of a circle is r squared equal to x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. We know that, okay? So we were looking for hk and we're looking for r. But once we have r and hk, we have the we can write the equation, okay? All right, so endpoints of the diameter, okay? So you know, going back to, you know, when you first studied your circles in geometry, you know that if this is your circle and this is the center and that's the radius, the diameter is the line that goes right through the center from end to end, okay? So the diameter is this. From here right through there, this is the diameter. It is basically 2 times your r, okay? All right, so that's your diameter. So here they are giving you the end points of the diameter. So basically they are giving you this point and that point. All right, so if they give you 2 points and you need to find HK, okay, which is the center, this is the center, okay, going back from what you know, okay, this is A and B, okay, so the center is basically the midpoint. All right, so you should know how to find the midpoint given 2 points. All right, and then what else do you need? You need your R, right? So you need your R. So your midpoint is going to give you the center, which is your HK. Okay, so find the midpoint. And then you need your R. To get your R from your midpoint, okay, you need to find your R. Okay, so the R is just the distance, okay, from well, you could do it either way. Okay, you could use the midpoint and find the distance between the center and B. That's going to give you R. Or you can find the distance between the 2 points that are given to you. That's your AB, and you divide it by 2. Okay, because that's the diameter right there, and R is half of that. Okay, so I'm going to leave you here, have you try this out, and if you don't get it, then I'll do it for you. But I think that should be enough information for you to recall what to do and be able to write the equation of this circle. All right, bye.